Hello, everybody. Welcome back to In the Pit with Jeff. It's Monday, June 22nd. Hopefully, everyone had a great Father's Day. Decided to come down today and do a little bit of work on the hurricane wing. From my last videos, I'm up to working on the fuselage interior, just replace a few pieces in there. And the fuselage come along pretty good, so I thought I'd tackle the wing. I came down and pulled out on this side. Hang on here. This side, my dad had. Nope, that's not it. Yeah, this one. He had the Airtronics. I don't know if you can see that. Old Airtronics servo. He probably stole one off of me. And then it just basically, they just slid. Plywood just slid into the slots of the triangle stock. Pretty tight fit, slid down there, and then the cover held your servo down. So replacing that, come along here, we'll just zip down really fast down to this end. Basically same thing. Remove this servo, come back along here. Those are the flaps. And he had just the old Fataba 148 on that side into a Y, just his own homemade Y harness. So what we're going to do, since we got some servo leads from the swap meet, hopefully I can sneak them down through the wing and replace those, because I had bought 3 high-tech 485 servos and a 430 servo, I believe, which I was going to put in that little Waco. And then I thought, oh, why put, a couple $100 of brand new servos into a little airplane? So I thought I'd keep them for this. So we're going to put the 485s here. And sorry about that. At this end. And then I'm going to put one in here. He had one servo that worked all the flaps. And basically it worked off to scale. Basically what the real airplane did was just torque tubes. He had it on that side. And then on the inner flap, same thing, but joined with piano wire. And the piano wire has to slide. I don't know if you guys can see. Piano wires inside the brass tube. And same thing as if you're doing Corsair and stuff. The gap that has to open up, the gap has to open up as it extends, and then it closes up. See there, the gap there, narrow, as it retracts, and then it opens up as it extends. And that all worked, basically all worked from the torque tube. Now on this flap over here, right down here, his homemade support there, I believe it was made out of circuit board. I don't know I forget what you call that stuff, but circuit board material is broken away, so we'll fix that. And then the blocks for the flaps were pinned. Well, he had screws going through, screwed and nutted, and then the blocks screwed to the bottom of the flap. Where did it go? Because I slid to the Jeffy again. There it goes. I tilted the wing up with the flap on it and it slid away. So there you can see. Actually, I can show you this way. Sorry about that. I'll show you this way really quick. basically, I'm trying to do this through the camera. So basically the flap slides onto brass tube and slides onto the piece of piano wire there. So anyways, this flap, I couldn't get the nut off underneath, so I just took the cut-off wheel, cut the top of the head off. But then I was able to get in here, and I got this bolt out okay. I had a problem with this one, so I got the flap removed. Then I was able to get in behind here, under here with my wrench, and then the little vice grips. Wrench and then little vice grips, and was able to wind that out. So now we can work on repairing here. This is notched out a bit because it has to clear his fiberglass cloth bandage and to hold the brass tubing on and the tubing. So we just have to fix up this. Basically looks like that. We'll clean this all up in here anyways, but this side's not too bad. This side's a problem one, so we'll glue this all back in. I believe the center section here was like door skin plywood, probably from here, or maybe one more rib out farther over, and then all the other ribs was hot wired out of the old blue foam, sliced blue foam, and what did you make that? Probably 1/2 inch. So all the ribs, most of these ribs were blue foam along here for his construction. And then I guess he had a problem with this flap, so he took out the torque tube and just put in the Robart. I'll take my clamp off here, sorry. He just put in some Robart horny, I just call them the horny hinges, in there. We could go back to putting torque tube back in, but my problem is the servo, the one servo working everything, and over time, I took this up, the flaps kind of worked over time. So I don't know if I can heat that up. He might have put a piece of glass over these two, I'm not sure, but over time the gaps, it's warped open. So I was thinking, if I put another, I can either heat these up, clamp them, maybe slice it, do all that stuff, or glass, put a layer of glass over it, or get out the plans, find out where you can have a peak in here. If I was to put a servo inside the wing and just have it come out, and with the hoping with the control horn and all that, and the pressure of that might be enough just to close up, right? Whoop, hang on, lost her. Not used to working on bigger airplanes, not huge airplanes, but I lost you guys. Oh, I got my finger in the way. I'm gonna have to cut this. Hang on, let me stop. Sorry about that, guys. You guys got a big, I was trying to figure out what the hell that was. It was my finger. Yeah, so if we put a servo in there and it pushed down in here, it would close up the gap a bit, and then with the air pressure of it flying, should close it up a little bit more. So that was one idea I had for that. I just hooked my hand pump up to the valve, pumped some air through, moved the valve, and got the gear down. It's pretty nice. I can't remember. I think we had a gentleman make those. I don't think my dad made these ones. I'm not too sure. We had a buddy in our club that was a really good machinist. My dad had done machinists in high school and stuff, and then when he enlisted into the RCIF, beginning of World War II, he became an aircraft fitter and stuff. So I don't know if he did some machine in there too, but we just had the little tag lathe and you bang away on making little parts and stuff. So anyways, that's pretty well it. We got making a list here, fix up the little ding dings, not too much on her. Looks like he had put new wheels on. I'm gonna shut you off for 1 second. Hang on. All right, we're back. So yeah, there's not too much to do on here. Repair the fuel tank floor here, and then we'll double up where the dowel went for the front of the wing. The plans called for a metal bracket being screwed to the wing and a bracket on the fuselage former, and then you slipped, kind of like a slot, slipped the wing underneath it, and it held the wing down. But I think my dad went to the old-fashioned way of just putting a dowel in there. So that's probably me when I'm moving it around a million times in the moves, put my finger through there. But it was cut out for his fuel tank. It works out pretty good because the fuel tank I have in there is pretty flush with the wing saddle. So that gave us a bit of room. And then again, this is like the flap. Oh, sorry about that. Flap linkage, flap servo was in here. Retract valve. So yeah, I think we can, Deans, and then a Y harness and that. I'd like to cut that all out. Run some new wiring through. I don't want to do a Y. I want to do each aileron have its own channel and then mixed together. Yeah, so I think we'll leave her at that and we'll bang away on her. So hopefully we didn't bore you too much on it. I know I gotta get down here and give it a dust off. But he did his little lights are kind of faded now with age and that. But yeah, shouldn't be too much. Should be a fun little project. All right, everybody, stay safe. From Jeff in the pit. Have a good day. Bye.